Hi there, everyone. It's Helenique Argeru, and today the woman of truth that I have with me is Juliet Murphy. Now, you know that I select ladies for these interviews and I invite them in for very specific reasons. And this lovely lady I met in California, in LA, and she is really quite inspiring for her passion for young people. She does have a lot of experience working with executives and actually helping all kinds of people become quite exceptional in the way that they create their life success. But her real passion is for youth and really helping young people transition from that formal education, let's say after school. One really has to decide what to do. It's quite a daunting task and it can be very overwhelming for young people. So if you are a mother and/or you have a brother or you have someone in your life that you know is going through this transition, you're really going to love this interview. A very warm welcome to you, Juliet Murphy. Welcome.
Thank you, Helenique.
Yeah. So we have this great opportunity today to get to know each other a bit better, because so far what I do know about you is that you really want to make this contribution to helping young people feel a deeper sense of connection and meaning for their future, right? Like not to be so overwhelmed by this transition into the workplace.
Yes.
Yeah. So
that is correct.
Tell us a little bit about your background. I think you studied an MBA and you also have very specific expertise on MBA training. I know that gives you a real head for business, but I think your area of career development has been quite specific. That's what you've really become expert in. So tell us just a little bit about what your interest really is in career development.
Yes, it's interesting because I didn't realize this until later on in my career, but I've always been that person who helped people to be successful in their career. And I just did it because it came so naturally to me. I didn't realize that could be a career or you could make a living doing that. Yeah. And for years, I worked in careers that I didn't love. And quite frankly, I didn't know people could love the work that they do. I truly didn't. Wow. The few people I saw that seemed to be enjoying what they were doing, I felt they didn't have a life. They seemed so excited about work that I felt it was a bit sad that that's all they had. That was my thinking, because I didn't enjoy what I was doing and so many people around me didn't. And so I ended up going for a promotion, doing some work that I was doing. And when I didn't get it, I was really hurt and very sad. I was upset about it. And I said, I gave that so much. I thought I was already doing the work. And I said, this was time for me to look within. And this was time for me to look and see what I truly enjoyed doing. Mm-hmm. And the answer came was that you enjoyed helping people to succeed. So much so that I even helped people to succeed in jobs that I was going for. And when they got it, I was celebrating. I wasn't upset. And so that's when I realized that I went to a career coach, actually. And that's when I realized that that was my calling. And so that's what brought my interest into career development and career planning.
Beautiful. What did you learn from going through that challenge?
Before I did that, or how I transitioned?
What did you learn in this kind of breakthrough that you had, that actually it's possible to be happy at work? Is that the insight you had?
The breakthrough was when I went for that position and I didn't get it, I realized that I've been fighting a battle and aspiring for something that was not naturally me. Yeah. I was forcing myself to do something. And when I asked myself, what do you do naturally? The answer came was, you help people to succeed. And I looked at so many instances where I had helped people that I didn't know I was being a coach. I just knew how to. So I had helped people so much so that there were so many people in the company that I was working at that I had helped with their careers that they kept telling me that I should do this, but I didn't know that you could make a living doing it. And the breakthrough came was when my heart was so broken, when I didn't get that career that I was working 12-hour days constantly doing. And I felt I was already doing that position for months. And then I did not get selected as the chosen person for that position. And that's when I knew something had to change. And that particular day when that happened, I went to my car and I sat in my car and I just cried. But I knew that day that that was my aha moment, and I was never going to be doing work that I didn't enjoy anymore. And miraculously, once I had that awakening in my head, God just opened up so many opportunities in career development in the same company, for
That's
me.
amazing.
And yes, and so I eventually ended up getting a position to lead a leadership development um, program for new college graduates, And I did that so well. I won many awards at the company for it. And I did that so well that I wanted to run my own business. I didn't know you could enjoy your work. And remember those people that I thought didn't have a life because they love what they did? I became one of those persons, and I realized, oh, they actually did have a life. They were having the joy of enjoying the work that they do.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to share that. It was just such an awakening for me that I wanted to share that. And the fact that I did it so naturally, I finally was able to excel in my job. I earned so much respect and I just felt fulfilled. And so I wanted to share that joy with others. And so I wanted to leave that company because I wanted to go and run my own business.
Wow.
And so I think I ran that program for 5 years, and then an opportunity came where I could leave. And since then, I've been running my own business in the whole career development space. But that's how it came into being.
So we're so lucky to have you as an example of someone that's felt that joy. And
I feel that joy every day, and so much so that the colors on for my business is yellow. I use that yellow because I think of the sunshine, and through the joy I have in my work and the passion I have, I feel that I pass that sunshine on to my clients, and I really do.
And so when you were a child, Juliet, did you have that kind of sunshine in you, knowing now what you know about life, being this wise woman that you've turned into, knowing that you can't just work to get the job that you want, you've got to also be living your bliss to be really good at your job, right? As an 8-year-old little girl, what kind of advice would you give her, knowing what you know now?
As an 8-year-old little girl, I still believe that as a kid, an 8-year-old little girl, you should really enjoy that moment, still be a kid, and be broad in your aspirations. Don't lock yourself in at 8, because I hear little kids now, parents and the people around them, sort of pushing them to think about what they want to be. I believe that at that stage, yes, you can think about what you want to be, but it should be limitless.
Absolutely.
At that stage, it should be limitless, because it's the broadest time for you to explore as broadly as you can, and just enjoy, go without bounds, without barriers, just enjoy it. And then eventually it will evolve into that. As an 8-year-old, that would be my advice to an 8-year-old.
Beautiful, because so many times we are forced to feel all kinds of guilt for not being clear about the big bad world out there and how to position ourselves in it. And I know even young people in my life, they've had some real anxiety about not knowing.
Yes.
Framing that and saying it's such an important time to be open to the world and all the options and possibilities of the world. So allow children to do that. I hope people are listening and they really manage to find this way of being
yes. There will be time enough, and I strongly believe that with freedom, that's the greatest opportunity to learn, right, and to evolve, is with freedom, because there are no barriers, no boundaries around how you think or how you explore.
Yeah, there's nothing fixed in. So as a young girl growing up in America, being exposed to the world the way it was and ending up in corporate, it sounds like, and then from there starting your own business. I'm just
You know,
wondering.
I grew up in Jamaica, so that's
Ah,
the island life. We were actually allowed to be kids in
amazing. So
Jamaica.
you're actually Jamaican. So tell us, what was it like in Jamaica for a young woman? What kind of lies do women believe about themselves as young women in that country? And what would you say about the ways that women deceive themselves in life in general? Like maybe we share some of this across the planet, but maybe there's also some specific cultural programs and agendas that each group has, you know, and you can tell us about Jamaica. What's the biggest lie you believe young women live with, and what's the truth?
In Jamaica. Well, that's a good question. Now, you know, and I grew up in Jamaica some years ago, so I don't know if it's still the same. But there, you know, the man was really very well respected. And, you know, there were certain little things that we did in Jamaica. You know, you wanted to make sure that you really took care of your man. And not to say the men wouldn't take care of the women, but they held a little bit of a higher, especially from the older women as they were training some of the young girls. There was a little bit more respect for the man, you know, making sure you prepare his meals, making sure the house is tidy when he comes home, and things like that. I mean, in many ways, Jamaica does have, they are a lot of equality between men and women, but the tradition really is that, you know, the man as a woman, as a wife, you need to prepare and take care of your man. You need to make sure the house is clean, the meals are prepared. And so I grew up with that, and I would say some of that still lies with me, not in the same way as it did back then, but you know, I do, some of that still stands with me. I don't see it in a negative way per se. I am definitely very enlightened, and I would say the women in Jamaica are also very progressive and very strong, powerful women. But there's certain basic tradition of, you know, respecting and looking up to your man that still stands, I believe, today.
So what would you say is one of the lies that women live with?
I can hardly hear you right now. I had.
So we've just changed our backdrop here, and you've just told me, Juliet, that this is actually your husband's work. He's an artist. So as we're
Yes.
talking about men and how important men are, you carry some of that vibe of being very careful to take care of the needs of the man. So what would you say in your life you've discovered is the way that women might lie to themselves, or the lies that women believe about life, about themselves, about whatever, work, business, whatever? And what's the truth? I'm just looking for one. I'm sure there's a few, but we're looking for one.
Yeah, I believe, you know, one of the lies, I know I do that sometimes too, to ourselves, that we're being fair back sometimes. I don't think we go in all in 100% all the time, because and we give more than we give ourselves credit for. I believe that we don't, um, as women, some of us do not give ourselves the credit
Right. So,
as we can be,
yeah,
and should be, about what we bring to the table. And we hold back, and we even to charge the right price for our value, we hesitate sometimes, and but yet we add so much value. So I think sometimes we lie, and we feel we don't deserve, or we're not worthy, you know, and because of that, we're not bold.
right.
And so we have doubts. That's a lie. We doubt ourselves when we have so much value. We doubt our value.
Doubt our value. And what would you say about this whole women's movement and how it's becoming a way for women to find a new way of looking at themselves and, of course, to develop themselves. What would you say about it? What would you add to it? All this change and empowerment work that's happening with women. How do you feel about it? And what would you focus on there?
I'll think about that in terms of my own self, and a lot of that lies within each individual.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, the word bold keeps coming to me.
Right.
And it's being bold, being fearless, and really trusting yourself, because it's all there. As women, we have it all, and there's a lot that we can do. But I just believe that we just need to get out of ourselves and just be bold and make the move. People see more within us than we oftentimes give out of ourselves. And this is particularly for my own self. I'm saying this in particular for me, is that being bold and stepping out and being confident in your power and your impact and your influence, that will take us to where we need to be as women.
Beautiful. That's so helpful. And I think it's good to keep this word bold in our mind, because you've just introduced it to us by saying that because we feel we're not worthy, we are not bold. And bold is when you charge the right price for your value. Bold is when you don't doubt yourself. Bold is when you say you have value. So what are you most passionate about in your life right now, Juliet? What is your move of being bold in the world now? How are you showing up? What can we look forward to if we follow you or work with you? What are you most passionate about now in your work and your life?
Yeah, what I'm most passionate about now is really helping people to recognize their own self-worth, and for them to claim their worth and to be bold in acknowledging that I am worth this, and I'm going to stand my ground. Mm-hmm. Because this is what I offer, this is the value I bring, and I can be secure in that, and I can stand my ground. And when I exude that confidence and that that confidence within my own self, people recognize that, and then people will pay you what you're worth, and people will value and appreciate you. But it begins with your own inner self, and sometimes that's really our biggest enemy.
Right. So when it comes to the work that you're doing with youth, there is a very specific passion that you've had and that you follow.
Yes. Really, yes, I'll share something real briefly with what I'm doing with the youths. Yep. I wanted to get closer to the high school students to see what's going on in their world in the classroom. Right. And so this semester I took a job where I go into 2 high schools and I work with them on career development. And that experience was amazing. I did not treat them as kids. I treated them as college students, as young adults. I held them responsible for certain things. And the classes ended last week, and there were 2 classes. Each was 17. One was 17, one was 18, roughly 18 kids each class. And I bought cards, thank you cards, for every one of them. And I wrote a special message for each one of them, letting them know how they contributed to the class and the value they bring to the world. And I did that not because I wanted them to say I was the best instructor, but I wanted each of them to walk away knowing that they have something to contribute to the world, and they needed to know that now, while they were in high school, so that when they get out there, they would have this one handwritten card, knowing that someone, as an instructor, saw that in them, and hopefully that can reinforce something in them. So I believe as the young people, the more reinforcement they get and the more acknowledgement of what they bring for whatever talent they have, walking out in that confidence will help to shape and define the adult that they become.
Brilliant. It's so important, I think, at a young age to know that you have an adult that can give you a very positive reflection, that someone actually sees in you something of great value. That
Yes, I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, I think this is very important. Sorry, now I want that to stop.
I lost you again. Are you asking for 3 words? What?
I'll ask you
specific
again.
To anything?
Hang on. Yes, can you give us 3 words that are for you very important ways to talk about what's touched you most in life? So maybe it's a word that connects to the second word and the third word, or maybe they're 3 separate words. What for you would be 3 words that you offer the woman listening and the women who are never able to listen to videos like this, also as a kind of prayer, sending out to them these 3 words?
Personally, one word is God.
Mm-hmm.
The other is love.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is freedom.
Beautiful. God, love, and freedom. Really important things that you've spoken to us about. How all these opportunities were made available when you got very clear about what you wanted to do.
Yes, and yes, those are words that are really very, very important to me.
Great.
And those are the words that, yes, I would leave with you.
Wonderful. And the word love and the word freedom, where you said so much to us about how you be really allowing of your children to be in a space of freedom, not to fix them into some profession or some career path really young. Let them explore. Thanks so much, Juliet. If anybody wants to help their young children find more clarity about this, or if they themselves are struggling to really figure out the right career path, they can definitely come and find you or work with you online, right? So I think this is a great video for people to know that if your kids are struggling, or if you feel like they need some support in making these kinds of choices, then it's just a matter of having a consultation with Juliet, and she can really help point you in the right direction on how to support them better. Thanks so much, Juliet, for your time, and congratulations to having such a beautiful artistic environment there. It looks really beautiful, all these colors on the wall. Take care, hey? And thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.